Yo, yo, yo. It's been a long time since I've done a video, probably because I don't know. I just don't really know what to say. I don't really have anything particular to talk about because it's just like the same shit and a different fucking day. Like, for real. I think one thing that is like I'm really struggling with is that mental illness is like just a lifelong fuck show. Like, I'm totally not feeling it at the moment. I mean, I'm never really feeling it. But I just feel so, I don't know. And this is why I haven't done a video, because I'm like, I just can't get my shit together to really care about anything at the moment, which really sucks because I was doing so well last year. I don't know really what happened, except for the fact that I just have the cutest, most adorable puppy in the whole entire world. Noldy's like, what's going on? I could probably just upload videos of my dog being super cute. Because he's adorable. He's like the only thing that keeps me going. He's like, I'm going back into my cave. I don't have time for you, Mum. I don't know what I'm going to title this video. Depression sucks. Because it does. Just like, there's not much like film worthy about a day in depression. What symptoms do I experience though? Extreme fatigue, being super messy, sleeping and living in the same clothes for days, obsessively buying and spending all of my money online on just stupid ass things that I think are gonna make me happy, but they never do. Either overeating or just not feeling like eating at all. Extreme anxiety, I think, is like, comes in a milder form of depression. I think at some point you stop worrying because you're just like, life is too slow to be anxious. It sort of just takes a completely different turn. So this is why I haven't uploaded a YouTube video. I want to upload videos, but like sometimes I'm like, yeah, I want to talk about shit, and at the moment I'm like, I don't want to talk. It's not that I don't want to live, like, you know, I'm alive and I don't want to kill myself because my meds deal with that. But I don't want to like, well, I want to live, like as in live a life with like some quality of life and do things that people who are alive tend to do, rather than just lying in bed and watching like Netflix documentary over Netflix documentary. Although if I would give you my current Netflix picks, I binge watched Exhibit A, and like I'm obsessed with like serial killer documentaries and crime. I really wanted to be like a forensic scientist. I just had a really shit chemistry teacher, and like I just didn't get the marks to be able to get into a chemistry and science degree at university. So I studied law because I was like, English and history, it's like my thing, it's pretty easy. And there's not much that isn't my thing, but maths and like numbers and like graphs and shit, like I was still pretty good at it, but I just hated it. It was just so hard. My brain just doesn't compute numbers. It's all about like words and philosophy and like learning, but just not numbers. Like pictures and words are my thing, and like anything else but numbers. So Exhibit A was good because it really investigated brain fog, another symptom of depression. It investigated things like that we accept to be really widely accepted forensic methods to convict people. Like, for example, like blood splatter analysis, DNA even. The DNA was really interesting because there are some cases dismissed because DNA isn't always accurate, especially like the statistic representation of DNA. So like if they match your DNA and they're like, this is 100% match, like this is your DNA, you can be convicted, but in the United States, and I think maybe a lot of places worldwide, they used to be like, statistically, it's telling us that it could be you, but it also could be like 100 different people, but because you're a suspect, we're gonna say that it's you, and like that would hold up in a court of law. It doesn't anymore, I know, in the United States, but like why? I guess just all documentaries are really United States based. I'm so tired. I yawn all the time. So that was really interesting, and like the cadaver dogs as well, and there was just a bunch, like each episode went over a different like video surveillance and how they convict people on video surveillance, even though they don't really have like a solid picture of the person. They just go like, statistically, this person is like this high and you're a suspect, so we think it's you, when it like really isn't. So that was good. The Kayleigh Browder story, that was really interesting. I cried during that. It's like Making a Murderer, but like a bit different, but a similar concept, and sort of how it changes the whole American justice system, particularly in New York, about like stop and frisk, and like sentencing for juveniles without a criminal conviction. It's like this 16-year-old spent 3 years in prison, one, for a crime he probably didn't commit, and even if he did commit it, he actually didn't, he like was never sentenced, and in the end they were just like, okay, we'll let you out. And he was also in he was in like a really tough prison that ended up getting closed down after this because he was just fully abused and it was really shit. But also like he was in solitary confinement for 800 days, and they stopped the solitary confinement of minors and raised the legal responsibility age from 16 to 18. So there was some huge ramifications that I found really interesting from his story. Unfortunately, he killed himself at the end. Spoiler alert, but really interesting, worthwhile watch, and really sad, but good. What else have I watched recently? I watched a lot of royal documentaries on the royal family, which was also quite interesting. And I watched The Last Tsars. I found that quite fascinating, actually. I didn't know that much. I knew a little bit about the last Tsars, like the last Roman emperors, because I know that they applied to King George, like during World War One, for asylum, and like in England, and they first agreed, and then they said, no, sorry, it's just too much drama, you're not allowed in our country, because they were cousins. And then it was just like their whole family got slaughtered. So, but that was interesting. I liked learning about different things worldwide, just anything really that just seems interesting and educational. I also watched really interesting documentary with Jonah. Oh, not a documentary, but it was kind of like a based on true story film with Jonah Hill, and James Franco, which was called True Story. And I actually think they both did like some quite good acting in that movie. And then I also watched Girl on a Train, which was fascinating. I absolutely love that movie, and I like hadn't been watching it because I was like, oh, this is gonna be so shit, but it was really good. I think Emily Blunt was the lead in it, and she actually did it quite justice, a lot of justice. And the guy that played the main character in like the Versace series, which is also very interesting. I had no idea that Versace was actually assassinated by just this like crazy lunatic who went on this like mass murder spree. That was quite fascinating. Not Donatella Versace, because lots of people think that that's what Versace is, and it like is these days, but her brother actually founded the company and he was the main designer. So he was like the genius behind Versace, Gianni Versace. Um, Interesting. What else do I just like to binge watch? I mean, Lucifer was fucking amazing. Lucifer, definitely need to get in it. I love that show. Not like a true story, but like the devil escapes from hell and then buys a nightclub in Los Angeles and then just like hooks up with this detective and like solves crimes. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like Bones, but like without so much gore and the forensic analysis. I do like forensic anthropology though. Does that make me weird? Something about like dead bodies? I don't know. Well, that's my rant for the day, so I'm gonna go because Otherwise, I'm gonna get stuck down this rabbit hole of Netflix shit. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and all the other shit.